What's up, y'all? It's Just Noise Boys. We back. I don't know what day it is,
This
but we're
time,
here.
we're guest lists. Not guest
We're
lists, guest lists.
we have no guests this time because we got busy and forgot to ask people.
That is
think.
true.
Fuck it, whatever. So this one is just us this time, which is cool. We got some cool stuff planned.
Yeah.
But before we get to what we're doing, as per usual, what's going on?
Well, first of all, I was just gonna say it's been about a month now since we started the channel, maybe like just over a month. And yeah, it's been good so far. So thank you guys to anyone who's listening or watching. We got about 260 subscribers on YouTube, and quite a decent amount of views. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. We got a lot of compliments on the podcast as well. Like, even though it's not blowing up by any means, the people that are watching still seem to really like it. So that's really cool to see. Definitely makes it feel like it's worth doing, and we appreciate that a lot.
Podcast is a really hard sell because it's such a long form of media.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, thanks to those who have actually wanted to check out what we say and listen to us talk for a prolonged amount of time.
Yeah.
Some people don't like that. Uh, so for those of you that do, that's great. I'm glad you dig it. We've been getting some good feedback and we appreciate it. And like
Yeah.
I said, we're still learning. So anything along the way, let us know what can make it all better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been cool.
Yeah, and especially with so many podcasts coming out right now, it's good to see that we're still doing well despite that. I was kind of curious if it was going to flop because, like, everyone started a podcast in April, basically. But, yeah, that doesn't seem to be the case. People seem to be liking it, and, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with us having a good platform already for the both of us in terms of social media presence.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I think, a leg up that we had, thankfully. Because I know it's a lot harder for there's a lot of people that just start podcasts with their friends, and sometimes it blows up, sometimes it doesn't. But I don't know, just keep fucking doing it anyways. If you do have a podcast, because podcasts are fun, like whatever. It's fun just talking to people, hanging out, asking questions, chilling. It's a good time.
Yeah, and of course, a huge part of that as well is thanks to the guests that we've had. So that has been a huge help, and also a big part of the fun is learning more about people who are already our friends. Because with most of those guys, like, we're friends, but we don't talk in depth about, like, our life history. Obviously, it's not something that comes up, so we actually learn a lot.
Yeah, we don't usually sit down and just say, so, like, what was the biggest moment of your career? Like, I don't want hanging out to feel
Where
like
do
a
you
fucking
think
interview.
YouTube is going next? Like, yeah, obviously we don't talk about that. And yeah, even for Johnny, like, there's lots of shit about Johnny I didn't know before, just because, I don't know, he just never came up. So yeah, it's cool.
Oh, you're gonna learn so much by the end of this episode.
It's
gonna
learn
us
today,
episode.
boy.
Yeah. So with all that being said, this episode, again, as we mentioned earlier, is just going to be the two of us, no guests. So it might be a little shorter, but that's all right. Yeah. So as for what's new for us, I don't feel like that too much is new with me yet again. I feel like, honestly, right now I'm kind of going through a little bit of a, what's the word? Like a rut or a creative, not a writer's block, whatever the equivalent of that would be for YouTube. Like burnout, I think is what people call it.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just not really feeling like I have a lot of good ideas lately. Don't really know why that is. I mean, it happens sometimes. I'm not too worried about it. Because it's obviously creating like 2 or 3 videos every single week is fucking pretty hard. So occasionally there's going to be a week or two where I just don't really feel like I have any good ideas. And this week happens to be one of those. So I only did the video with Johnny that we did earlier this week, which was the 16 guitar riffs on 16 guitars video. But other than that, I've kind of been, I don't know, just sitting around trying to think of stuff, and nothing's really sticking out to me as like a good idea. Like, I have some ideas, but I'm kind of like, I don't know, not 100% sold on them. So that kind of makes me not really want to do them. Because people can tell when you're not stoked on an idea for sure. Like, I've done videos like that before where I just like force myself to do it, and I don't know, they never really turn out that great. So I'm just not really sure what I want to do here, but I'll get back to it ASAP and figure something out.
The more you sit around and like tell yourself you have to do something, the harder it is to come up with creative ideas. Yeah. And then it starts to not really feel like you're doing it for the right reasons, right? You kind of just feel like you're doing it for the sake of doing it. And I know for you, sometimes it probably does feel like a job.
Yeah.
But whatever. There's nothing wrong with taking a little bit of time to kind of just refuel. I know, like, especially since I'm in a lot of projects, I kind of have to take a week off when it comes to writing, and then just kind of do something that isn't, related to music, or like play video games, or, whatever, stuff like that, and do stuff that's not writing. And then when I get back to it, I find that it definitely helps. But I know in your situation where your income depends on it, it's kind of easier said than done. So
yeah, it's a little weird. I don't know. It's part of making your passion your job, I guess, is sometimes you're a little stuck because your income depends on your ideas. And if you don't have any good ideas, it makes it all the more stressful when you're not just like, that's okay, I'll just wait until I have a good idea. Because it's like, well, kind of can't really do that, because if I don't make videos, I'm essentially fucked. So
yeah,
it's
and you're not the only one that does that either. I'm sure Jared as well, feels stuck, and everybody else.
Yeah, but a lot of those guys too, I've talked to them about this before, because again, it's not like this is a new thing. This has happened to me plenty of times. That's just why I'm not freaking out about it. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of those guys say that they just end up taking a break, and it's not that big of a deal, and it's whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, it's still worrisome nonetheless. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So basically, not too much. Just trying to think of good ideas that are not coming to me at the moment.
Fair enough. I became older.
Yeah,
that happened. I'm 26 now. Cool. Doesn't really matter. I don't care about birthdays. I don't like hyping them up. I don't like, it's kind of like New Year's when you were younger was really fun. When you were with your like friends, and drinking wasn't legal for you, so it was a lot funner to like get alcohol and have a good time and all that kind of shit. And then as you get older, New Year's kind of feels like this hyped up thing, and it kind of sucks. Yeah. And it always kind of is a bust.
Do I really have to stay up till midnight for this? Like that kind of thing.
Well, that, and there's always like drama that ensues and a bunch of shit. I don't know. I just I have the same thoughts about birthdays. I just don't really feel like, I don't want to make everything about me. I really don't like that. I know that we're sitting here like talking to each other, talking about ourselves, but that's because it makes sense in this platform. Besides that, I don't like talking about myself. I really don't like, I don't want people to sing me happy birthday at all. But I did spend pretty much the whole day with Ty and the boys from Bastion at Ty's place, because he's literally my neighbor. Just went over there, hung out, had a barbecue. It was really cool. It was chill. Had a good time. And that was it. My girlfriend made my day pretty good, which was great. I didn't ask her to do anything, and she did anyways, which was awesome.
Not bad.
Unexpected. But yeah, that was kind of it. Besides that, I don't really have anything new. I'm just, still writing and doing stuff. I got bored and did a Mr. Brightside cover. Just because that song is good, and the vocal range is in my wheelhouse. It's like super easy. Basically just sings one note for like both verses are literally one note. So I'm like, yeah, I could probably do this. But
it's
my
like
goal,
rapping with a key.
yeah, my goal was to try and match it to the original, as opposed to doing a heavy cover of it, just to challenge yourself and see if you can, try different stuff. I don't think I did a great job in that regard, but I still like doing the song. It was surprisingly hard to play. Like, if anybody look at the tab for that song and try and play it, the chord shapes are really fucking hard. But yeah, it's a great song. The Killers are great, and that song has a few plays on Spotify too.
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that kind of goes into the next topic. Speaking of Spotify, so one of the big things that happened in the past like week or so that I wanted to talk about was Spotify acquiring Joe Rogan's podcast. I'm sure lots of you guys have heard about this, and pretty much every podcast is talking about this because it is quite a big deal, to be honest with you. So obviously Joe Rogan's podcast, I think he actually held out from putting it on Spotify. Like, it was everywhere except for Spotify for some reason. I don't really know why. But essentially what happened is Spotify came to him and offered him a deal. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was like $1.5 million or something like that for exclusive rights to his podcast, which essentially means the podcast will now only be on Spotify, which is pretty cool. So
I think it's way more than that.
Is it 1.5 billion? No, it can't be that.
No.
I thought it was 1.5 million for some reason.
Keep going. I'll look it up.
Okay. Yeah, look it up. But anyways, yeah, so that's a big deal for two reasons. Number one is his podcast was the most popular on YouTube, and now it won't be on YouTube anymore. And it's really interesting because YouTube hasn't even made any attempt to keep him on their platform. So it kind of just goes to show that YouTube kind of doesn't really give a fuck at all about its creators, which I mean is something that everyone kind of already knows. But the other really interesting thing that it particularly pertains to me is that Spotify is going to be doing his podcast as videos still on Spotify. So that means that Spotify is now going to be entering the the world of streaming video, which obviously they currently don't do. So I am super curious to see how that goes, because if Spotify enters that playing field and ends up finally competing with YouTube in a meaningful way, I think that's going to be great, personally.
That'll be crazy, man. I'm really curious how they'll do that. Yeah, sorry. The deal is $100 million.
Oh, fuck. Okay, yeah. Even crazier.
Like, come on, he makes a fuck ton of money just from YouTube. They wouldn't just toss him $1
million.
I don't know. It's $100 million.
Okay, $100 million, even crazier. But yeah. So I don't know. I'm just really excited to see how that works out, because obviously YouTube dominates this realm, online streaming videos that are essentially free to view with ads. So there's been a few people that have tried to compete, like Vivo and Facebook and I guess Instagram, but none of them really do the same thing, because the big thing they're missing is they don't allow monetization. Or Facebook does allow monetization, but like not really, like kind of.
They're very picky and choosy with who gets to get their videos monetized on Facebook.
They only allow like the top of the top, like people with hundreds of thousands of followers on Facebook can monetize. And apparently it's like okay, it's not great. But regardless, it would be really cool if someone else came along, like Spotify, for example, and started opening up a whole new revenue stream for video creators, because I would be all over that in a heartbeat if so. And again, like we said in our last episode where we were talking about people complaining about Spotify, the interesting thing is, again, Spotify actually pays more than YouTube, and for some reason people don't think of that for whatever reason. People like to complain about Spotify not paying artists, but YouTube pays them even less. So if Spotify keeps the same ad rate, technically I would make way more money if I got the same amount of views on Spotify as I did on YouTube. So that sounds pretty good to me.
Do you think it would change? Do you think it would change the ad rev for Spotify? Like, how do you think that would work?
Change in what way?
Would there be ads? Like, would they be doing ads on videos?
Well, they already do that though. Like,
yeah, I keep forgetting because I'm premium, so I don't have ads and shit.
Exactly. So it's the same thing as YouTube, right? Like, if you don't pay for Spotify, there's ads, but if you pay for Spotify, there's no ads. Whereas YouTube, the exact same thing applies, but just nobody gives a fuck about YouTube Premium for some reason.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
So it's the same thing there, right? Like, if you pay whatever $10 a month for YouTube, then you don't get ads. So it would be the exact same. Obviously I'm speculating, but I would imagine it would be the exact same way on Spotify.
Man, it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. Like, because Spotify is pretty great when it comes to like, it's not impossible to get on playlists and stuff like that. Like, it's not as hard as it is to say, become a partner with YouTube, because it's way harder now than it used to be. Yeah, they used to just send you an email and tell you that you were a partner. But Yeah, I wonder how easy it'll be for the video formatting, because even like you were talking before, you just got the like little GIF thing for Spotify.
Yeah, it's called
which
Canvas.
Is cool.
It's the I don't. You guys have seen this, I'm sure, but if you're on Spotify mobile, there are certain artists where if you look up their music, it actually plays like a little visualizer on your screen. It's just like an 8-second loop or something. But I just got access to that, which I haven't personally tried yet, but I have it now, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, but like you have access to that, and which is great. So like stuff like that is definitely attainable with Spotify. So I'm curious how attainable if they open up the video platform to everybody else. If it's going to be really difficult, or if it changes how much you get paid out. I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens. But it could be a fucking game changer when it comes to musicians on YouTube.
Yeah,
like it could completely bring them over to the Spotify side if they get to make more money via ad revenue, and they can promote their music, which is directly on the exact same platform that they're watching the video on.
Exactly. Like it's not like when you upload a music video to YouTube and it's like, hey, click this link to blah blah blah. Like if you're watching the music video on Spotify, then the song is right fucking there, right? So it's just even easier to get that cross promotion.
It's also like playing it twice, because you just watch the music video and then they're like, all right, well, go listen to it again over here if you want. Like it kind of cuts that part out, I guess.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how it's going to work for sure.
It's definitely an interesting time.
And then also, the whole other side of this that goes with that is then, of course, if it actually is, if they do it well, then it will compete with YouTube. And that means YouTube is going to have to change something, because otherwise, I'm sure lots of people will maybe not leave YouTube, but they'll start posting to both places, like obviously. So that'll be interesting to see if like YouTube does some kind of something to innovate to make people, to incentivize people to stay on YouTube, basically, if you know what I mean.
I feel like just because of how we were talking about YouTube before, they won't do that. But
I think they will if Spotify becomes big enough that they have to. But I don't think they're going to until that's the case. Like YouTube is pretty slow to adapt, let's say.
What if they just bought Spotify?
That's also, I guess, possible. But I feel like they would have done that by now, because like Google doesn't have a good streaming platform. Like they have Google Play or whatever, but like who gives a fuck about that? Nobody.
Yeah.
So Spotify's the biggest one in the world. I'm sure Google has tried to buy them already. Like I can't imagine why they wouldn't have.
Who knows? We will see. The future will tell the truth. I Am Abomination, great record.
Yeah, but that's kind of all my thoughts on that, I guess. So I'm just curious and excited to see how that all plays out.
Yep.
I think they said it would happen by the end of 2020 or something, but we'll see. But yeah, and then the next thing I wrote down to talk about is kind of a funny one. So it's prompted by there's a podcast that both Johnny and I watch, which is called Two Bears One Cave, which is Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer, hilarious comedians if you haven't seen them. So they talked about this in one of their previous episodes, and I thought it was really funny and very applicable to us. So it's about people that try and like compare / force Johnny and I to like compete with each other, even though that's not what we do at all. And what I mean by that is basically like people commenting on like Johnny's videos being like, oh, you're way better than Andrew, bro. Like, by the way, just so you know, I like you better, or vice versa. Like people who comment on my channel who are like, whoa, like, same exact thing, but the opposite. And I think it's so fucking weird. It's just like I understand, obviously, like if you like one or the other more, like that is totally understandable. Like that happens all the time. Like there's plenty of bands or whatever that I listen to where I'm like, oh yeah, I like this guy's riffs more than this guy. Like that's, completely reasonable. Yeah. But it's weird to go directly to that person and tell them. Like it's just like, what do you expect the result is going to be? Like you think you're going to go tell Johnny that you like him more than me, and he's going to be like, haha, yeah, fuck Andrew. Like it's so bizarre
fuck
to
you,
me.
man. Fuck you for like helping me out. over the past 5 years. I'm better than you, man. Suck
It's
my
just
dick.
so weird. And it was funny because when they were talking about it on Two Bears One Cave, because they have the same thing where it's like people say like, oh, I like Bert's comedy way better than Tom's, but they'll say it like to Bert, and he'll be like, okay, like, dude, that's like my best friend. Why would I want to hear that? Like, I don't want you to talk shit about my friend in front of me. Like, it doesn't make me feel any better. So what are you trying to do here, you know?
Well, like, what I don't they can't expect a reaction. You know what I mean? Like, anytime I see stuff like that, I usually ignore it completely because what am I gonna say?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, cool, man. Yeah, I'm better. Like,
It's just so bizarre.
That's kind of what I was saying before, how I don't like talking about myself anyways, is I don't have like a giant ego where I need people to pump my tires constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't get off on that stuff. You know what I mean? Like we work together as a unit. It's not a I'm better than you, thanks for the platform kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know? It's like I genuinely want to create content with you. It's not me with like a secret agenda being like, I'm going to showcase myself over here. Like, that's never really been the case. So, yeah, that's strange. It's very strange seeing comments like that.
It's just so funny that people can watch, like, a video of us doing, like, a song, even if we don't say anything, and they'll, like, somehow create all this, like, sub-context which doesn't actually exist. Like what you said, like, maybe some people watch a video of the two of us and like, oh, I bet Johnny's just using this so and he can get Andrew's viewer or something, and it's like, no man, like we've been friends for like 6 years and we've worked together on hundreds of songs, so no.
I think like this is definitely specific to the video we just did, the 16 guitars 16 riffs things, is because you can directly see the difference between my writing and your writing, and it's not as though one is better than the other. It's just people have preferences as to what they like to hear, and if they hear your riff and they're like, I like how this one sounds, I like his writing style more than, you know, Johnny's or whatever, and that's cool, but you don't need to tell us that you think, you know, whatever, this person is better overall. Yeah, like, it's just I don't like, fucking care. It's all subjective, right? It doesn't really matter.
It's so funny. And I guess it's just weirder because they're commenting directly on our own videos. That's the part that makes it weird. Because again, like, there's tons of bands that I listen to where I think that, but it's not like I would go up to that band and be like, hey, bro, like, I'm so glad you're in the band, because that other guy, he would probably fuck up if it was just him. It's just like, why would you say that? I don't know. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, or like a band that has like a new vocalist. Like if you went to like Lucas from Vale and you're just like, yeah, I like Brandon way more, but like you're okay too, I guess. Like he was way better though.
Yeah.
Like,
and the thing is, people do that in real life too, because metalheads suck and do that shit. But that's a whole other thing.
I don't think they suck. It's just some people are weird and don't know how to.
It's definitely a specific, handle a very, very small percentage of people that do this shit. But it just, I saw it a lot on that most recent video, and it just reminded me of that. And I was like, man, this is so fucking weird. It's like the goal of this video was not for us to compete with each other. So why are you trying to make it about that?
Yeah, there's things that Andrew is better at than I am, and there's things that I'm better at than Andrew. It doesn't mean that it's a competition. It's just what happens. Different experiences, different ways we learned how to play our instruments. It's just whatever, you know?
Yeah, but I just thought it was a funny thing to address because it, came up in that video. And then, again, I thought it was funny hearing those two comedians talk about it, because I was like, oh wow, it's not just music, it's like this everywhere.
Oh, especially for Tom and Bert too, because I find both of their comedy styles are different. Like Tom is definitely more of a how do I describe his comedy? It feels, this is gonna sound wrong actually, it feels smarter. It feels like more intellectual, I guess, and Bert's is mostly, you know, stories from his life, but it's very like it pertains to a particular audience of people that I know like his stuff, like, you know, like party dads and like guys who partied their whole lives and now they're married and, you know, they can relate to him. Where Tom is similar, his stories are similar, but they feel a little bit more intellectual in a way.
I guess
I don't know.
that's how I
view it.
His comedy style is definitely more like goofy, but whereas Tom's is more like fuck everyone.
Yeah. They're both very successful comedians that are good at what they do, and I like both of them. I can't say I like them both equally, but I do like them, and I love their podcast.
Yeah, their podcast is awesome for sure. They're funny guys.
So let's just move on to what we're actually doing today. I had this idea last night. The idea for me stemmed from I'm a big Barstool Sports guy. I watch a lot of Barstool Sports. And what they've been doing throughout the quarantine is they've been doing a trivia show every week where they face off against, coworkers within the Barstool office. And it's usually ranges from a bunch of different topics and all that shit. So I wanted to do like a metal trivia between Andrew and I. This also stemmed from Andrew being Canada's Gen Sweetheart. And then I wanted to ask Andrew some Canadian trivia questions. And he doesn't know too much about Canadian history, but you know what?
No.
Sorry, Mom. That's fine.
Yeah, trivia in general has never been my strong suit, so I'm not stoked. I'm stoked for this, but I don't anticipate doing well. Let's just put it that way.
I love trivia, but I don't know what you're gonna ask, so I'm very curious. So what we've done is we're asking each other 12 questions each. I've changed this part of the thing. Whoever does the best out of 12 wins. So we're each going to ask all of our questions, and whoever answers the most right out of all of them will win nothing. Nothing matters. I don't know. What the fuck does the loser have to do? Do you have any ideas?
I don't know. I can't really think of anything that's like that we can do right now on the spot.
No. Well, okay.
Something to do with like social media, like you have to post something on your Instagram or something like that, but I don't know.
Sure. Well, if anybody listens to this and they have any ideas, let us know, and we'll go from there and see what's up. So I don't know how exactly you want to do it. Do you want to trade off questions, go 1 and 1?
I don't know. How do they usually do it in that podcast you were mentioning?
They go 1 and 1.
Okay, let's do that then.
Okay. The way that they do it is they have a host, and then there's 2 teams. So the host will ask one team a question. If they get it wrong, the other team gets a chance to steal it.
Okay.
Which obviously we can't do because we asked each other questions.
Yeah.
So
I'm just going to write like an X down for everyone you get right. That's as easy as it's going to be for me.
Sure.
Like on my own sheet where I have the questions listed, I mean.
Right. I'll
Oh, you're gonna do it with pen and paper, damn son. We're doing it old
pen
school
and paper.
up in here.
Old school, baby. Have you ever heard of paper?
You're killing the environment, bro.
Yeah. All right, future Johnny, add in trivia music right now. So, who gets to go first?
I'll ask the first question. Fuck it.
All
right.
What do you think?
Yeah.
All right.
So, Johnny, the first question is, what is the first studio album by the death metal band known as Cannibal Corpse?
The very first one, that would be Eaten Back to Life.
That is correct. Congratulations.
Yes.
All right.
It's crazy because Cannibal Corpse went with the same artist for a lot of their artwork throughout the beginning of their career. He was like a comic artist. He was really good. All right. First question for you, Andrew. I have a feeling that now hearing yours, our questions are going to be similar yet different.
Oh.
The song Skynet opens what Acacia Strain album?
Man. I think that was Continent.
You are correct.
Hooray! It's
didn't
funny
know
that
if
you
you were
asked
gonna
an
get that
Acacia
one.
Strain question. I don't know nearly as much about them as you do.
I know, but I knew you might have vaguely known a little bit, so that was reaching a bit. So,
luckily, we did that guitar riff evolution video, so that's how I learned.
Good thing. Good thing.
All right, my next question is, what is Nergal from Behemoth's actual name?
Do you want his full name?
First and last, yes.
Is it? I think it's Adam. It's like, is it? Oh, fuck, is it like Lukovitz?
No, but the first name is correct. Do I give you like a half point, or you can take a guess on the last name one more time?
I just looked at it yesterday because I'm asking you a behemoth question as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's so weird.
Fuck. No, I don't know his last name.
Okay. His name is Adam Darsky.
Yeah, Polish motherfucker. Don't give me a point for that. If it's first, if it's first and last, then I didn't get
Fair
it.
enough. It's all or nothing, baby. All right.
Yeah. All right. How long was Tool's hiatus between Fear Inoculum and 10,000 Days?
Oh fuck! I think it was 10 years or 11 years. I'm gonna go 10 years. Final answer.
That is incorrect. It was 13 years.
Oh wow, both were wrong. Damn, I didn't know it was that long. When did the 10,000 Days come out? Was that 2008 or something? I guess
13 years ago. So that was
2007.
2006.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
I believe. I'm not good at math. But yeah, that record, 10,000 Days, awesome record. Fear Inoculum, or however the fuck you say that.
No.
Very boring.
I couldn't even get through the first song. It was like 12 minutes. I was like, nah, dude, I'm good.
No. So after 2 questions, we're tied at 1. We both have 1 question incorrect.
All right. My next question to you is, which band featured members of Monuments and Tesseract before either of those bands existed?
I know the song, and I know who was in it, because I know Misha was involved in it as well.
I'm not sure about that, but maybe.
Oh, man, I can't remember what they're called. I know the music video, too. I can see it in my eye holes, because the long-haired guitar player from Tesseract is in it and all that shit.
That is correct. But what were they called?
Dude. I don't remember. I don't know.
Okay. The band was called Fell Silent. They were signed to Sumerian Records. I think they only released 1 album, and it had John Brown from Monuments and Akil from Tesseract, which are the guitarists of those respective bands before either of those bands existed. I don't know if Misha was involved. I don't think he was, but maybe. I'm not sure.
I feel like he had his hand in it somehow, from what I vaguely recollect.
It was quite old. It was like back in 2006 or 7 or somewhere around there.
Right. That's
before
a good
Gent
question.
was a thing.
That is a good question.
Thank you.
All right. Question number 3 for you. Jason Richardson has joined 4 major bands so far in his career. Who are they? Okay.
It was... Oh, what are they called? Not As Blood Runs Black, but it's a similar name as that. All Shall Perish. Born of Osiris. All That Remains. There's 4? What the fuck was the 4th one?
There's 4.
Oh my god. I don't know what the 4th one would be. Those are the only 3 I can think of. Other than like his solo project, obviously, but that doesn't count, I would imagine.
Are you giving up?
Fuck, what would that be? I can only think of those 3.
Oh, okay. You're gonna hate yourself. All Shall Perish was correct. Born of Osiris was correct. All That Remains was correct. All That Remains is what I thought you weren't gonna get. The 4th one is Chelsea Grin.
Oh my god, how did I fuck that up?
Yeah, I was very surprised you got All That Remains, but not Chelsea Grin.
Fuck, man.
Very surprising.
Wow, I don't know how I forgot that. That record he did with them was their best, well, one of their best ones, dude. Fuck.
The Evolve EP?
I can't believe I fucked that up. I like the Evolve EP the most, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's even done anything with All That Remains yet.
Did
he just tour with them?
I don't know, but he's like in the band officially, so I don't know.
Jesus. Yeah, it was very surprising.
Wow, I can't believe I fucked that up. All right.
So
we're still tied at 1 for 1, right?
Yeah. We're not doing too hot.
This next question, I would be very surprised if you get it right. So it is, what year did Crystal Lake begin as a band? Like their first ever EP/album.
I'm gonna base this question off of what they sound like. So in terms of like their influences, I don't think they're that old, but they're also Japanese, so they are eternal. I'm gonna guess that they would have done their first record in 2007.
Their first EP came out in 2002, surprisingly. Very long time ago. And it was titled Free Will. And it's crazy because their two guitarists have been the same since 2002. All the other band members have shifted over time. But I had no idea this band has existed for 18 years. That's fucking crazy.
2002, yeah. There's no way I would have.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's surprising, right?
Well, yeah, it's 4 questions for me, only 1 right. Not doing good. Okay. Killswitch Engage has had 2 vocalists throughout their history. Who are they? First name and last name.
That would be... Oh, I don't know his last name. Jesse Leach. I don't know how I know that one, but not Howard's last name. What is his last name? Holy fuck. I don't know it. Oh, I hit my mic. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know Howard's last name. I didn't realize I didn't know that until just now. I don't know why I know Jesse Leach. Like, he's the one that has been on less of their stuff. Is it Howard Jones?
Yeah, you are correct. It's Howard Jones and Jesse Leach.
Thank God. All right, we're at 2, baby.
Very
close. That was a close call.
That was a buzzer beater. You're lucky there isn't a timer.
Okay. My next question is, which 2019 video game did Bring Me the Horizon create a song for?
Death Stranding.
That is correct. That was the song called Ludens. I knew you knew the song. Didn't know if you knew which video game it was from because you didn't play it.
I literally just watched the Ludens music video today live in Japan. Because
really?
I was just like watching some Bring Me the Horizon stuff because I like what they're doing now. It's cool and crazy and weird.
That song is really good. And I think they're teasing like new music right now, which is cool.
Yeah, they do little studio updates every week.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been watching those. They're pretty interesting. It's interesting how they're doing their quarantine recording section. You should check it out. It's weird.
Yeah, I've watched 1 or 2 of them. But yeah, all right, next question.
All right, we're at the 5th question per both of us, and we are tied at 2. Question 5 from me: what type of cancer did Nergal from Behemoth? What type of cancer was he diagnosed with back in 2010? Was it lung cancer? Is that your final guess?
Yes.
Incorrect. It was leukemia.
Right.
When they did the Satanist, he gave because the artist actually hand painted the artwork. He used Nergal's actual blood to paint the red on the album cover.
That's fucking crazy, and a very Behemoth thing to do.
Yeah, to signify his he beat leukemia, which is great.
That's good.
But he has a really good book actually that he wrote about him. That he wrote about himself. It's great.
He's a crazy guy. Okay. My next question is, I think this one will probably be pretty easy, but here we go. Name all 5 current members of Meshuga.
Thomas Hakey, Frederick Thorndal, Jen's. I don't remember what Jen's last name is. And then is their bass player Dick Morton?
First name's correct.
And then what's their other guitar player's name? Oh no. I mean, it would be easy if it was only first names, but they're all fucking Swedish and have crazy last names.
Yeah. Well, do you even know the first name of the last guy?
Martin?
That's right. So, okay. I mean, I had it listed as first and last, but I don't know.
I mean, it's Thomas, Frederick, Martin, Dick, Jens.
Yeah. First names are correct. So, fuck it. Okay, I'll give you the point. It's whatever. Okay. It's Jens Kidman is
Jens Kidman.
Yeah. And then Dick Lovgren and Martin Hagstrom. So, fair enough. The last names are pretty fucking hard to remember. But I was curious if
Sneaky
you get
hard
that because
question.
like everyone knows Jens, Frederick, and Thomas, but like people don't usually know the bassist and the rhythm guitarist.
Yeah. Isn't it, this is a fun fact about Jens, but he has an 8-string guitar collection of like Flying V 8 strings.
He has a
Which is
signature
strange.
8-string with some like super random Swedish company that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was actually the original guitarist of Meshuga, which I also didn't know, which makes way more sense as to why he plays 8-string guitars.
Yeah. Very strange, but they're a strange band.
Definitely.
All
okay.
right.
Well, we'll give that to you because the last names are pretty impossible. So whatever. You got 3. Good job.
I appreciate that. What legendary guitarist did Devin Townsend record and perform on a record with in 1993?
Oh God. Steve Vai.
Correct. It was Steve Vai.
Crazy. That was honestly a guess. I had no idea.
It's a good guess. Yeah, that was the early days of Devin's career. You can see they played on like talk shows in the States when they were promoting the record and stuff, and you can see Devin performing vocals without a guitar, which to me looks really awkward because I'm used to seeing him with a guitar.
Yeah.
But he like holds the mic stand like super far away and he just fucking screams into it, and he's like, it's so he's such an
He's
awkward
such a crazy
guy.
vocalist, man.
Yeah.
I might have heard him say something about Steve Vai in like a vlog or something, and that just I guess stuck with me. But whatever.
He has an infamous story where they were playing a festival and Devin like fucked up or something, and he got all pissed and like threw this trash bag around that was in their room and like sprayed like a fire what's that?
Fire extinguisher.
Fire extinguisher into the crowd and people like throwing up and stuff. He was
Nice, good job.
That's when he was performing with Steve Vai. That's like a legendary story. You should check that out. It's pretty funny.
Super random. Okay,
yeah.
so next question. So since I know you're all about the Canadian shit, what is the most played Billy Talent song on Spotify?
Ooh. Most played. I
I was surprised by this one.
feel like it's probably going to be something off of Billy Talent 2, but I could also be wrong. Maybe like after they stopped doing the self-titles, they just released a song and it got a bunch of plays. I really don't know. I want to say Red Flag.
That is correct.
Yes.
I was surprised by that. I thought it would have been Devil in a Midnight Mass or Fallen Leaves. Fallen Leaves was number 2, but
Oh, yeah.
Red Flag has honestly way more than Fallen Leaves. Like, it's not even close. So it actually has 91 million plays, which is crazy. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, that song was huge when it came out, and it's like a pretty accessible song.
Yeah.
Off that
it was
record,
in
like-
a lot of video games too, which definitely helped.
Yeah. Devil in a Midnight Mass is one of my favorite songs off of that album, but it's definitely like a very
It's heavier.
fuck the Catholic Church kind of song too.
Yeah.
Which might not translate super well, especially at the time. But Red
Fair
Flag
enough.
is pretty like
Yeah.
general, you know.
It's like a good old teenage anthem.
Oh yeah, for sure. Huge. I love that record.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 7. It's 4-3 for me right now, but I feel like you're gonna get this question.
Let's see it.
What eclectic guitarist claimed significant notoriety from having his song Jordan used in the game Guitar Hero 2?
Oh, easy. Buckethead.
Correct. That's what I thought you would get that one.
Yeah, Guitar Hero 2 for life, baby.
Yeah, I became obsessed with Buckethead after that game. I like bought the mask and everything,
And the guitar strap or whatever.
Yeah, I bought a stretchy guitar strap because he had an elastic one. Mine, I still have it. It's not exactly like his. Like his whole thing was fucking stretchy. It was super crazy. But yeah, I used to love Buckethead. He was the shit.
He's a weird guy. You'll probably get this question too, but it's what was the first metal band to use 7-string guitars?
The first metal band to use 7-string guitars?
Yeah.
Probably Korn.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
So they used Steve Vai's signature guitar. So the first like mass-produced 7-string was Steve Vai's,
The Universe?
which is the UV77 or something like that.
Yeah.
But the first like actual band to use those was Korn, and they still to this day, I'm pretty sure, play an A standard on 7-string guitars.
Yeah, and they have their own signature ones too that
Yeah.
a lot of people bought back in the day.
Yeah, the silver one, the K7
Yeah, the
or
monkey.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, cool, good for them. Never really liked Korn that much, but I mean, we owe them a lot, and when it comes to extended range guitars and tuning low, so
Yeah, and honestly, their riffing style is actually like pretty close to some of the stuff that we would write or listen to now. It just has way different vocals and drums, but like the guitar riffs are more or less similar.
yeah, worst bass tone in the world as well.
I kind of like it, but yeah, it's
Whatever,
weird.
It's too chunky. Yeah, I don't. Whatever. All right, so it is 5-4 right now.
Yep.
I don't know if you're gonna get this one. I kind of hope you do, because I would be happy for you if you did. What is the longest song in Between the Buried and Me's discography?
That would be "Swim to the Moon" off of The Great Misdirect.
Correct.
Yes.
Do you
It's
know how long it is?
I think it's like 1750 or something. It's pretty fucking long.
Wow, that was very close. Yeah, 1754 is how long the song is.
Exactly. Dude, I was obsessed with Between the Buried and Me, which is weird because nowadays, if a song is longer than like 5 minutes, I'm like, this is too much.
Oh, yeah, you tap out pretty quick, so.
I used to have more patience as a child.
Yeah.
I loved that album and Colors, so I know a lot about it.
Yeah, I didn't know that when I was looking this up, they did a remaster of The Great Misdirect.
I haven't actually heard that, but that makes sense because it was probably the 10-year recently or something.
Yeah. I saw it on there. I was like, oh shit, I would probably listen to it again.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, my next question is, which progressive metal band left Sumerian Records to start their own record label? Pretty
Periphery.
easy. Yeah. So it's Periphery.
Three
They started
Dot Recordings.
exactly. Yeah. So they did that with their most recent album, P4. Hail Stand was the first self-released album on their own record.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty easy, and you got it.
It was a big time thing when it happened, but the way that they just it was, I don't want to say it was ahead of what everybody was doing, but everybody now has caught up to that mentality, which is like, in my opinion, 4 years too late.
Yeah.
But there was a strong mentality in the industry in general where people were like, you have to be signed to a label, you have to do this is how you make it, is doing it this way, which isn't necessarily true for everybody. If you have the means of doing it yourself, it's definitely, in my opinion, I know that we've gone through the label ringer as well, but it's beneficial for yourself and cost effective, cuts out the middleman.
Mm-hmm.
I think Periphery did it right. I mean, they can do fucking everything themselves,
And also, they're
mean?
incredibly famous, and anything they do will succeed. So there's also that.
Yeah, I know. Like, I can't remember what's the label head for Sumerian. Do you remember his name?
Ash Avidson.
Yeah, like what he wanted out of Periphery, like, was that he said you guys could be like an arena band if you wanted to write more songs like Jetpack Was Yes and that kind of stuff. But they just never really wanted to do that, and they found success doing what they were doing anyways.
Yeah, clearly.
You know what I mean? So I think he just, kind of saw dollar signs in what they could potentially be in terms of like a, more mainstream metal band.
Sure.
But I still think they got nominated for a fucking Grammy.
Yeah, they're
for
doing
a
just
song
fine.
that
They
was
don't
like
need to
all
pop it up.
Yeah, the song they got nominated for was all screaming. There was no clean singing.
Which one
whatsoever.
was
it? It's the opener off of Select Difficulty.
Which was...
It's like bow.
Yeah, okay. I don't know the title, but I know.
Is that Motormouth?
No, it's not. It's I don't remember, but yeah, Motormouth was the one.
You know what
after
I'm
that,
saying?
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Okay.
Anyways.
So that was my question. So you're up next.
Yes. It is 6-5 right now, and I think that we might tie it up here. Let's see. Protest the Hero commissioned a drummer to perform on their record Volition. Who was it?
Chris Adler from Lamb of God. I was hoping there'd be a protest to hear a question on here.
That was an easy one. That was soft.
Okay, my next question is, what was Despised Icon's first album titled? Another Canadian band. Trying to get those Canadian things in there.
I know what it looks like. Has the fleshy boy. It's got a sun behind it. It's like an orangey album cover. Fuck. I don't know. I actually don't know.
So the first album they ever released was called Consumed by Your Poison from 2002. And this was a weird one. I didn't know this, but Alex Arian, who's one of their vocalists, actually played drums on that album and did not do vocals. And they had a female vocalist on that record who did that one and then quit shortly after. So kind of weird.
Right.
Yeah.
I knew they had a female vocalist. That if you've ever watched their final show at Club Soda in Montreal 2008, they have her on stage doing some of their old songs.
Oh, that's cool. I had no idea.
Fuck. I wish I would have remembered that one. I literally toured with the fucking
yeah, that's why I thought you might have known.
Yeah, no, fuck yeah, that's my bad. I'll slap myself.
How dare you? All right.
I think I'm asking you easy questions now. Now that I'm looking at these. What was the name of Whitechapel's debut record in 2007?
The Somatic Defilement.
Yeah.
Don't be too upset.
That's what it was. Yeah. It wasn't the Somatic Defilement, but it was just Somatic Defilement.
Close enough. Yeah.
Great EP. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Was it an EP or an
record?
album?
It was a record. It was a record. It was an album. I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah. I started listening to them with This Is Exile, but obviously I went back and they only had one other album at the time, so I was very familiar with both of them.
The remaster of that record's really good.
Yeah. Okay, my next question is, might be easy, I'm not sure, but it's what band did Skrillex used to play in?
Taking Back Sunday.
Oh, incorrect. It was From First to Last.
No! Shit! Fuck!
Taking Back Sunday was like a similar style of band, though, for sure.
Fuck.
Said it with such confidence, though. Almost believed you.
I know. I thought God damn it. All right. I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose. It is 7-6 right now.
Yes.
Second to last question. Name all 5 of Volume's major releases.
Okay. So we got The Concept of Dreaming, Via, No Sleep, Different Animals, and oh my god, the newest one is the one that I'm having the hard time with. What was it called? No Love, I think. I know what it looks like. It's like a red thing with like barbed wire. There's an EP. There's a song with Franz called No Love, but what the fuck was it? The album called? I'm gonna go with No Love, but I don't think that's right.
You were very close. That is incorrect. Yeah, The Concept of Dreaming was right. Via, No Sleep, Different Animals, and then their EP, which I think is a flaming heap of shit, is called Coming Clean.
Fuck. That's the other song. There's like only 3 or 4 songs, and I knew it was the title of one of them. Damn it.
There's 4 songs, and they all kind of suck.
Oh, man.
The new singles are much better.
Yeah, I definitely like the new stuff a little better, but yeah, I didn't listen to that one as much. It wasn't my favorite, but fuck, that's disappointing.
Nah.
I knew you were gonna ask something about volumes. Damn.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that one because I knew that you would get stumped on that.
Yeah, ironically, the newest one is the heart.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's so close.
Yeah.
All right, my final question for you is, which metalcore?
I have to get this right.
Which metalcore band did Post Malone audition for on guitar?
We Came as Romans.
Incorrect. The band that he auditioned for was called Capture the Crown.
No, fuck.
And he didn't get the audition because he broke a guitar string, apparently.
What a loser. Only losers break guitar strings.
Fucking idiot. Yeah, so that was my final question. Let's see what you got.
Well, I mean, technically I officially lose.
Yeah. This makes me very happy.
But your final question is, Periphery's self-titled debut record was re-recorded multiple times before its official release in 2010. Who is the original vocalist before Spencer joined to do the official record?
That would be Chris Barretto from Monuments.
Correct. He's not in Monuments anymore.
Well,
but yes.
Ex-Monuments, I guess.
That ex-Monuments.
Yeah, baby.
Do you know what other bands Chris Barretto's been in?
Ever Forthright. That's the only other one I can think of.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only one I can think of as well.
I think he was maybe very briefly in I don't even remember what they're called. It was like this really weird like proggy band that only released like 3 songs. I don't remember what they're called. I used to like them a lot in high school.
I don't remember. I know he went around and did. Well, I mean, he did perform all of the saxophone stuff on Altered State.
Right. Yeah.
For Tesseract.
But he wasn't like
cool.
in.
He's not
that
in the
band.
band.
Yeah.
No. Fun fact, just because we're talking about Chris, when I saw Monuments, the only time I've seen Monuments, years ago, went to the show by myself. It was in Kelowna inside of a old gym. It was a show they added as an off day, and it was Monuments, Glass Clouds, Scale the Summit, Reflections, which was fucking awesome because I really liked all those bands. Maybe minus Scale the Summit. I don't really care about them. Oh, Era was on that bill too, before JT.
Mm-hmm.
And Monuments was playing, and it was the first record they did with Chris, and I was stoked to hear him sing. But for whatever reason, probably because it was an off day and he didn't give a flying shit, instead of singing, he did the whole set with his saxophone.
Yeah.
So he performed all of the songs, all of the melodies with his saxophone, which was actually kind of cool.
But pretty weird.
It was pretty dope. But it was very strange.
Yeah.
I was just
it's funny because they played Vancouver
okay.
the very next day, and he definitely sang everything completely fine. So I don't know what's up with that.
I get it. It was an off day, like just kind of how it was. But it was cool to see Reflections at that time too, because that was when What's His Nuts had left the band, so it was only Patrick and all of them.
Exist.
Yeah, it would have been. It was right before the Color Clear, like a few years before that record came out.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see them like that.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, I lose.
That's surprising. I thought I was gonna definitely lose this one.
There was some questions I definitely should have had, but that's okay. So Andrew takes this one, 7-6, pretty close. I was surprised that you didn't. Did you get 8?
I got that last one right too. Oh, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I won. I don't care.
7. I was surprised that you didn't get that Jason Richardson one.
Yeah, that one is surprising. And same with the Volumes one. Those were the two where I was like, fuck.
I mean, neither of us really liked that Volumes EP, so I probably wouldn't have got it either, to be honest.
But even really still, like, I don't know. I know a lot about Volumes, and that's like the one thing I wouldn't have known.
Yeah. Well, I think we should do this again at some point if we ever do a solo thing. Yeah. Trivia is fun. I like trivia.
It's pretty cool, actually.
It's exciting.
It's a lot more fun when it's about a subject you actually have a chance of knowing about, not like Canadian history. I was just like, the fuck is this, man?
Not random Canadian history questions.
What year was Tim Hortons first opened? Like, why would I know that?
1967, baby.
It probably says that on the sign above the door every time, but whatever.
I think it does. Do you know anything about Tim Horton, the actual?
I know he was a hockey player.
Tim Horton.
That's all.
Yeah, he was a Toronto Maple Leafs hockey player. He was a legend. The way he died in a car accident tragically when he was really young, and then his family carried on Tim Hortons and all of that.
Crazy.
But yeah, Canadian history, baby.
Yeah, history was like my least favorite subject in high school. I fucking really didn't like it. I thought it was very boring.
I love little factoids and
little
learning
tidbits.
shit that doesn't matter necessarily. But in terms of trivia, it matters a whole lot.
Yeah, that is true. All right.
So that was dope. We'll move on to kind of the end of our podcast. This one's going to be a bit shorter than our other ones, considering our last podcast, we literally had to split into two because it was fucking 3 hours long. But I asked y'all some questions on Instagram, and I have them pulled up here. Some of them are pretty fucking good. Some of them are whatever. Filtered through a few of them that were kind of repeats of old questions. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions to talk about here.
Sounds good.
All right, moving on to some questions from y'all homies. First question. I feel like you might be disappointed by this answer. What's your guitar practice routine like?
Yeah, my guitar practice routine is I don't practice at all. I only play guitar when I am recording or making a new video. Other than that, I basically don't play guitar at all.
My answer is similar. I don't practice guitar. Like, I don't sit down and go through my modes and my scales. I definitely did when I went to music school, but now that I don't have to do that necessarily, I don't do it. When I was younger and I wanted to like learn how to fucking shred and I was listening to Van Halen, yeah, I definitely practiced like techniques and stuff like sweep picking and all that kind of shit. But now I kind of don't necessarily practice at all. Like, if I want to challenge myself, I'll maybe do a cover of a song or something like that. But besides that, I don't really like sit down and meticulously like, you know, Jason Richardson my way through shit.
Definitely not.
Sorry, that's probably a disappointing
Yeah, I get asked that a lot, and my answer is always disappointing.
Right. This one's from Eric. So
it'll be a super serious
top
question.
top five memes or meme characters.
I don't fucking know. Oh my god, I don't know. I mean, I know yours is like "Here Comes That Boy" from fucking 2013 or whatever. the little frog on the unicycle.
Oh shit, what up?
Oh shit, what up? Here Comes That Boy. That one was pretty good. I like the "It's Free Real Estate" guy, Tim and Eric, whichever of the two he is, I don't know.
Yep.
The "Let Me In" from like Eric Andre is good. I'm really liking that Kylo Ren Moore meme right now. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's pretty much it, man. Maybe like SpongeBob memes or something.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, that boy will always be in my heart. Yeah. I really liked Ben Swallow at the time. Ben Swallow was fucking funny as shit. Giant fucking shirtless Kylo Ren.
I don't even remember that one.
Oh my god, it's so good. I'm a head out. I like that one a lot.
SpongeBob.
That one's pretty good. Yeah. Was I? There's like an old video of like, not to be racist or anything, but Asian people. I love that. That video is very funny. It's hard. There's so many good ones. Fuck. Yeah, I can't even think of all of them right now because there's so many,
and they like, change every month.
There's been waves of memes that are in and out. I like "Don't Talk to Me or My Son Ever Again." That's a good one. Especially the revival of that with Keanu Reeves.
I don't even know if I've seen
it's that. Pretty funny. It's from E3 when he's like on stage.
Oh
like,
yeah,
standing all huge, and they have like a mini one. Fuck,
from
I
Cyberpunk.
love it, dude. It's so good. Yeah. There was tons of really good Sonic memes at the time too when that first trailer came out. Sonic, yeah. That's good question,
that's
Eric. I don't want to give you too much credit, but that's a good question. I like this one. Favorite hobby besides music?
Video games for me, for sure. I have every single video console since N64 except for the first Xbox. And I play a lot of PS4 and Xbox One, mostly. Oh, that did not muffle the sound at all.
Sorry. Would you buy a original Xbox just to have the console, or would you want it to be functional?
I've thought about it many times, because you can get them for like $50 or whatever. But like, I would not even actually plug it in ever. Like, it would literally just be to put on a shelf. And I mean, that's not that bad for like a decoration. $50 is whatever, I guess. But at the same time, I'm like, it's kind of a waste of money. So I don't know. We've thought about it many times, but just never actually did it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you ever find one, you should get it just to complete the collection.
I mean, I know where to get one. Like, there's places in Langley that have old video games all the time. Every time we look at one, we're like, do we really want to spend $50 on that? Like, I don't know.
Do all of the consoles that you have come with controllers as well? Like, is that a part of your
I don't know.
collectathon?
I think that for a few of them, we definitely lost the controllers. Like, I don't think we have any N64 controllers, but for most of them, we still have, like, the cables and stuff. There's just a few that are missing.
Dude, I would do anything to have my old PS2. Like, I played my PS2 so much. I had two. I had the original, like, big bulky ass one. I know you can't see it. I know where it is though. I had the original really bulky one, and then I got the light version. Yeah. You know, the light one that's thinner. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I do. I had that one, but the thing with the PS2, it had a lot of disc read issues, and I had a lot of problems with discs back in the day where it had a hard time if it had any dust on it whatsoever. But yeah, man, I love the PS2. I played it like fucking crazy.
Yeah, the PS2 was awesome. The nice thing was, like, I had a lot of these consoles, but since I was a kid, I would always sell the console to get money to buy the next one. So I actually didn't really have that many. I think I like only had the Xbox 360 and PS3. But I had all of the other ones over the course of my life. But Serena, she never gets rid of fucking anything. So she had all the old consoles that I used to have. So when she moved in here, we kind of, got them all back, if that makes sense. And yeah, we're just on display.
That's pretty cool. We could probably do a whole other podcast just about video games in general. Yes. But when I grew up, the first console I played was the original NES because my parents had bought it back when it came out in the 80s. So I still have the original one. It's pretty sun damaged. That's the thing with those is the color wears out pretty quick.
Pretty quick, but I still have the original 30 years after it came out.
30 years. No, but I have like the original Duck Hunt with the gun and all that stuff, and then Super Mario Bros. 3 and 1. And then I got a PS2, which I played forever, and then I had an Xbox 360, and only up until the past few years I got an Xbox One, which would be the newest console I got. So, and I played a lot of PC games for a while as well.
I never really got into PC gaming, even though I have a pretty beast. I've always had a pretty, like, really good PC. I just always preferred playing on consoles for some reason. I don't really know why. I think it's because I do so much work on my computer that when I want to chill, I don't want to sit on my computer anymore. I want to go somewhere else, but I don't know.
Makes sense. I used to play, like, the OG original Battlefront 2 servers were online for way past the game, when it launched in 2005 because people were playing it so much. So I kept playing that, and like the modding community for that game was really cool. So it was fun to play it, like all the modded maps and stuff.
Makes sense.
Anyways, my favorite hobbies besides music, for people that know me well, they'll know that I'm a huge sports nut. I'm a big hockey guy. So I would say collecting memorabilia is definitely a hobby that I am into quite a bit. I'm always looking for specific jerseys, rare jerseys, that kind of stuff. I do listen to a lot of podcasts. That's another hobby, I guess you could say. Back in the day when I was younger, I haven't drawn or designed anything in a really long time, but back in the day I used to like design tattoos and all that kind of stuff for friends and shit, and I've stopped completely. I don't do it anymore at all, but that was a passion of mine for a long time, was doing stuff like that. But yeah, pretty much I collect a lot of shit, Funko Pops, that kind of stuff. I mean, do you want to call Star Wars a hobby?
For you, it's not just a hobby, it's a fucking lifestyle.
Yeah, for me it's a lifestyle. It's an obsession of mine. I care so much about that franchise. It's insane. But yeah. Hockey, Star Wars, and that's that.
Yeah, mine is pretty much just video games. I don't really have any other hobbies that I can think of.
Fair. I was wondering if you were going to give a different answer, but I figured it might be video games. This one kind of pertains to me, but the question is, will Angel Maker ever come to Greece?
Kind of pertains to you. Yeah, I know so much about this question.
We had a discussion about this in our last band meeting, just in terms of what we're gonna do when it comes to touring. I can't really talk too much about it, but touring the United States is going to be really difficult for the next little while in terms of what happens with the border, and then since the states have different laws per state, it makes it really difficult to plan a tour there. Not saying it's necessarily out of the question, but it's becoming increasingly difficult to plan ahead. So we have been looking at potentially other places as opposed to the United States. That's all I'll say about that. Nothing is concrete. That's just a talking point for now.
Yeah, and if I could just add... No, I'm kidding. Obviously, I haven't...
Next question. This is from Buddy Ben, which is a funny question to me. If you weren't celebrities, what would you be doing for a living? Now, I want to preface something right away. I know that he probably said this as a joke, but we are not celebrities, like, at all. No. We are known by a very small niche group of people, and that does not mean we're celebrities whatsoever.
Definitely not. Unless we go to a specific thing for music, then maybe people will know who we are, but other than that, no.
The moment where I knew I wasn't a celebrity is when I went back home for Christmas when my a Mariah Carey song blew up or whatever, and I had a friend come up to me and say, "You're the most famous person I know." When they said that, I knew that I wasn't famous because, like, it's fucking small town Penticton, man. Like, there's no fucking way. Like, I'm friends with Troy Stetcher, who plays for the Vancouver Canucks. He makes millions of dollars a year. That's the most famous person I know. He will inherently be more famous than me forever. Yeah. And, like, oh, man, I don't know. That's so funny.
But, sorry, what was the actual question again? Sorry.
The actual question was, what would you do if we didn't do what we were doing now?
Oh, shit. I don't know. I probably would have just stayed at my job I was at before this, honestly. Like, I probably would still work within the industry to some extent if I wasn't making content. Like, I would still want to be involved with something to do with the music industry or videography, one of the two. For a while, right. I was super interested in, like, potentially becoming something with, like, the movie or TV industry, but, yeah, that didn't really end up happening, obviously, so... I don't know, something to do with the music industry, probably more on the management side of things, or something like that.
What do you think you would have done in film? Like, did you want to be like a camera operator, or?
I have no idea, honestly. I didn't really get that far into it. It was more like a high school thing where I was like, I want to make videos, and it just didn't really end up going anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. For a while, I was doing, like, there was a period of time where I would, like, film like guitar playthrough videos and stuff for like local bands, and I did that for a while, and I don't know, just didn't really love it that much, but it was fun while it lasted.
So if you didn't do music, you would do film, you think?
Yeah, I would basically I guess I would do the same thing I currently do, but for other people instead of making my own videos.
Fair enough.
Like that's editing cool. Or something like that.
Yeah, film is hard, man. It's dog eat dog. Yeah. I remember I went to the 891, which is our local film union in Vancouver, when I first moved here, and I was like, I want to work in sound design. Mm-hmm. And I dropped off a resume at the office, and they were like, do you have any prior experience? And I'm like, no. And they're like, great, yeah, well, thanks. And then I feel like I literally just saw her throw it in the fucking garbage can when I walked out. It was very deflating, for sure, especially with like specific jobs like sound design, film editing. Those people, especially because they're a union, they hold on to those jobs until they fucking die. Yep. So somebody has to die for you to work in that industry. It's crazy. For me, what would I do if I wasn't doing what I do now? I would probably, I would have kept on the trajectory of what I was doing before, which was sports. I probably would have liked to have stayed within the hockey world. Probably not playing because I wasn't good enough to play pro necessarily, but I did goalie coach for a long time. Even when I moved to Vancouver initially, I was goalie coaching at Cannibal Ice Sports in North Vancouver. Right. I would probably like to stay within that. I just love sports and I love hockey, and I do miss the game a lot. So like doing something like that would be cool. If not, I probably would have liked to have done something with art design as well, in terms of like tattooing. Maybe even like tried getting into tattooing, that kind of stuff. Because I did love designing and doing that kind of stuff. I was obsessed with tattooing when I was younger, before I even had tattoos. So yeah, probably something like that. I like here. This is kind of like a branch off of this question. If you went to back to school, what do you think you would go back to school for if there was something that interested you?
Man, I don't know. I already went to university for fucking 6 years. I never want to go back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I've never thought about it. Like I do not want to go back to school ever.
Right. I looked up like because I really wanted to get into like history of hockey specifically, and I wanted to be like a hockey historian. So I looked up if there was any like classes, and there isn't really anything. It's more just like general history that you would learn, and then hockey would be like a
Is that
side
like a
thing of it.
job though?
It's not really a job. It's just like a title you could attain.
Okay.
You could write articles and books and shit.
Okay.
That's pretty much all you could do with it. I just like the idea of it, I guess. Anyways, next question. Where do you see heavy music going after the dealer trend?
After the dealer trend, I mean, it's already
Yeah.
that style of music has already made a huge fucking impact. There are so many bands that are already doing that. You know, well, I don't even know what you would call it. It's almost like a pseudo nu metal thing, like sort of bringing nu metal back into metalcore, if that makes sense. And I mean,
Right.
I don't think Dealer was the first band to do it, but they're definitely one of the most popular because like their first ever song just blew up and it had a lot of that shit in it. So I don't know. There's lots of bands that are already like kind of aping that style, including some of the stuff that I write for sure. Like I love that stuff, so obviously I naturally try and write like that. But as for what's next, I have no idea. I don't know. It's also the other big trend I see happening is like the kind of like poppy baby metal trend that's going on. That's been kind of slowly building over time, but it's kind of reached a point where like once Poppy started doing metal music, I was like, whoa, okay, so you know, baby metal's been a thing forever, but it was like the first like American version of that, I guess you could say. And like a lot of metalheads
Right.
don't like it, but she is doing huge, well, not right now, but she was doing huge fucking tours. Like one of her first ever tours was with like Bring Me the Horizon, which is crazy because they're one of the biggest bands ever. So it's clearly successful, even if metalheads say they hate it. You know, if there's enough of a fan base for it.
I brought this up when Dealer was popping off to you guys, and I was like, I wonder when this is gonna die, because so after it really felt like after Dealer did that first EP, everybody was doing that. Everybody started doing like
Arf, arf,
exactly what they were doing. Arf, arf, all that shit. Like everybody started doing that sound to death. So I'm curious if it's going to have a long shelf life. I was also curious as to what Dealer was going to do next when it came to their next release. And they kind of, you know, I know Josh left the band, and I was wondering if that was going to change the writing style. But it kind of, they just did the same thing. Like exactly the same thing. So I'm curious what they're going to do with their next record. We'll see what happens. In terms of what is going to happen in the future of metal, what I'm already seeing now, and it pertains to what I was talking to before, I think Bring Me the Horizon has a big influence on what a lot of other bands are doing. I think their trickle-down effect is huge. Like from where Bring Me the Horizon started as like a deathcore band, metalcore band, to where they are now playing fucking stadiums all around the world. I think a lot of bands see that and they want to take some of that and put it into their own
As much
flavor.
as they'll deny that that's true, yes.
Oh, everybody is fucking doing it right now. Like, I talked about this before when I was talking about the novelist audition I did and the songs that they sent me to do for the second part of the audition. They were very much influenced by Bring Me the Horizon, like big time. So I'm curious. I think when Bring Me the Horizon comes out with their next record, a lot of bands will take that and go in that direction.
Well, and also with the song they
so-
released for Death Stranding, Ludens was kind of a heavier song again. Not like heavy, but, you know, relatively speaking, compared to anything on the Ammo. Like, it actually had screaming again, whereas nothing on Ammo did. So, I don't know, it's interesting, because it was still very poppy, but it still did have, like, a pretty sick breakdown. I don't know, it's cool. And it's weird because
I
like
think
there's so
they're
many people
trendsetters.
on like, even this is a weird thing to say, I guess, but like for TikTok, like there's a lot of people actually discovering metal through that. It's honestly pretty crazy. Like the videos that we do, like the breakdown callouts, like there are so many people that comment on that saying like, I don't know, like, oh, I usually hate metal, but this is fucking sick, or like, oh wow, this is like the best part of these songs all in one, and like it gets people into it. Obviously, that's a very small part of this whole ecosystem, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah. Well, it's young, impressionable kids that are looking for stuff to listen to still,
yeah,
right?
and like
And
rap
like,
has screaming in it and shit now. I mean, it has for a little bit, but like it's a lot of like current rappers are openly saying like, yeah, I'm influenced by fucking whatever, and
yeah,
like,
especially the SoundCloud rap
yeah,
scene,
and it's
like with Ghostmane and stuff.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some more rap, more pop, a little more arf arf. Basically, is the answer to that question.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Next question. I'll answer this one kind of quickly. Do you think it's better to be taught screamed vocals or figure it out on your own? I've answered this question before, but I would say a mixture of both. Just speaking from my own experience, I just taught myself by mimicking people that I liked, and then going to music school. And my girlfriend's a vocalist, so I learned a lot from her. How to properly do things, I think, is important. So I'd say a mixture of both. If you literally have no idea and you're having a lot of trouble, I would recommend going to a teacher or looking up lessons. But besides that, I think you should just kind of find your own way. There's a lot of resources out there.
Yeah, I can't really say much about that because I never have even attempted to do a lesson, so I don't know.
Well, how about pertaining to guitar?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I did go to lessons for that for a little bit, but I didn't think they were fun, so I dropped out and learned myself instead. So I don't know if, I mean, the guy who was teaching me was obviously awesome, but it just wasn't fun. Like, it was like, I don't know. I don't really care about learning scales. That's not fun to me. So I chose to just drop out and learn guitar tabs instead, and that's what I did.
Well, if you're a metal guitarist, maybe hit up Nick Nocturnal.
Yeah.
He can help you out. Or hit up Dean Lamb from Artspire.
Mm-hmm.
They both do great lessons
Yeah,
and might pertain more to what you want to do and make it fun.
for sure.
The last question is kind of just like a pretty easy one for us to answer. How did you guys meet? How long have you guys been doing music together? And what I say to that is go to our first podcast where we literally talk about the history of our relationship. But for a short answer, or if people are new to the podcast, yes, I recommend going back to episode 1. But we met basically just through the internet. I sent Andrew a message about a cover he was doing, and I did the cover as well, and just kind of got talking. I said, hey, if you need a bass player for Galactic, I'm happy to help out, and it kind of went on from there.
Yeah. Like
how long has it been now? 6 years
ago, something like that.
Something like that. So yeah, we go way more in depth in that first episode, so maybe go check that out. And
yeah, it's like a whole like hour and a half story about this shit. So if you want like all the details, you can go check that out for sure.
Yeah, go check it out. It's just us licking each other's faces.
We're the best.
Yeah. So yeah, anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's pretty much it. It's a good time to wrap up here, probably.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for coming and listening to us do some trivia and hanging out and answering some questions. Yeah. The next podcast, I think we should probably have a guest so that we don't do this again.
Yeah, we'll
but we'll work on that. We'll bring somebody and lock them in a room and make them talk to us.
Sounds good, I guess.
You like that? Cool.
All right. Well, thanks guys for watching.
All right.
That's all. See you next time. Bye.
Goodbye.